And welcome in everyone to this week's episode of Craze's Corner. We got a good show for you today. We've been following all the off-season trades, pickups, so we're going to let you know some guys whose fantasy values are rising and some guys whose fantasy values have dropped after free agencies. You're going to make sure you stay tuned for that. First, we're going to talk about a few news stories. One of the bigger ones, quarterback position. Obviously, Lamar Jackson's a free agent, could be traded for, but the Patriots have reportedly been shopping Mac Jones, whether that's just conversations Bill Belichick has had with other teams or how serious these trade talks are. We know that there has been some discontent with Mac Jones in the Patriots locker room and in their head office, so we'll see how this situation shakes out. If they could be a team to acquire Lamar Jackson, it would make sense for them to move on from Mac Jones. So we'll see what they decide to do at the quarterback position, sticking at the quarterback position. Despite the addition of Taylor Heineke, the Falcons have said that Desmond Ridder will be the starting quarterback for them week one. So that's an interesting development. A lot of coaches, they're hesitant to name who the quarterback one's going to be, especially when you bring in a guy that would probably be hoping to compete. But Arthur Smith came out and said Desmond Ridder's their guy. So expect Desmond Ridder to be starting week one for the Falcons. And then week one news, Breece Hall is going to be ready for week one coming off his ACL injury. This is some great news for the second-year running back. I'm excited to see what he can do in this new Jets offense. I think that, he'll probably start off a little bit slow, obviously coming off that ACL, but I don't think it carries any long-term risk from what I've been reading. So I think he should be good to go full speed by at least week 3 or 4. So he's definitely going to be an asset to have. Do you guys think that Breece Hall can sneak into the top 10 next season? He was pretty good when it came to points per game this past year, but if he stays healthy, will he be a top 10 running back next year? Let us know using the MEedia App. The MEedia App is a virtual press conferencing app that allows you to host a press conference from your phone. You can go in the app, make a press conference, change your background, have virtual background, great features. You can answer this question. You can tag me or media. We'll have a look at it and let you know our thoughts on your take. You can ask other people questions, other creators on the app. Maybe we'll have some players on the app. You can talk to them, ask them questions, kind of get an insight information. So definitely you need to go check the app out. It's available on the Google Play and the App Store. And now let's welcome in our guests, Jeff and Will from Media. Thanks for joining. How are you guys doing tonight?
Doing great.
Doing all right, Zach. Doing all right.
There's no ice here, Zach. No ice, no snow.
Yeah, dealing with the power outage up here in Canada. Got lots of ice, but we are powering through. Free agency has kind of hit a lull now, so we kind of had some time to take a look at some of these moves that have happened, some of the trades, kind of start ranking these guys going into next season. The draft's coming up. Obviously, that's going to change a lot of what we're seeing right now. But before the draft, we'll have some draft content coming up in the few weeks. But we're going to talk about some moves that we've seen happen. We're going to each do 2 players that we think their value has improved and 1 player where we think that their value has kind of regressed. I'm going to start us off here. We're going to be looking at a trade here. We have the Elijah Moore trade. Elijah Moore ends up in Cleveland. And I think this is a very, very favorable landing spot for him. Amari Cooper is the wide receiver 1 in Cleveland. But when you look outside of that, Donovan Peoples-Jones has been okay, but he hasn't been great. He could definitely be the wide receiver 3 in this offense. And now Elijah Moore comes in. He gets to be Deshaun Watson's wide receiver 2. And that has always been a fantasy relevant player. Look back at Will Fuller in Houston. That's been a guy who's been constantly producing, and I like the talent of Elijah Moore. I like him coming out of the draft. He just never really got in the right position in New York. So hopefully, new team, a much better quarterback than anything he's had in the NFL. So this should be a very good landing spot for Elijah Moore, and I'm looking at him like he could be a low end wide receiver 2 by the end of next season. So maybe he's in that wide receiver 20 to 24 range. But I think he's going to produce some value this season and be a valuable asset to have on your team. What do you guys think of Elijah Moore? Are you worried about what we saw in the Jets, some of those locker room issues, or you think Cleveland's going to be a better spot for him and he can start to get some work?
Way better spot for him.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be mad too if Zach Wilson was my quarterback. So yeah, I don't think he'll be having any issues, especially with the guys he's got surrounding him with Cooper and Deshaun Watson. So, I believe that could be a very, very much improved offense next year. I'm really kind of excited to see what they put out there.
I think he's going to be okay. I think it's going to be good. I'm just a little concerned about the pressure that's mounting on the Browns organization to win. If they don't win this year, they're going to clean house. And you always hate to kind of see that because I'm not sure coaching staffs or front offices make the best decisions when they're at that point. So how it plays out, if they start slow, Watson struggles again, maybe just at the start of the season or preseason. Just a little worried about all the Browns, to be honest with you. But I think there's a potential there. They could have a great season. Just you start hearing those stories, as the coaching staff on the hot seat, it makes me a little nervous.
Yeah, it's a little nerve-wracking. But, sometimes we've seen teams where coaches, they're on the hot seat and that's when they start to perform. Mm-hmm. This is really a situation where this team really hasn't been together for long enough, with Deshaun Watson only getting to play a few games last season. So they are on the hot seat because they've had this opportunity for a while, but it's not like it's because this group of players hasn't been performing well. Right. They just haven't had the chance to get out there yet. So I'm fully confident in Deshaun Watson. I have him in our Dynasty League with Amari Cooper, and I'm perfectly happy with that stack. I think it'll be okay, but there's definitely some risk with Browns for sure.
I think for fantasy owners, and whether you're Dynasty or you're going into your draft, you really want to watch the Browns offseason program. Are all the guys coming together and really working this offseason? Now, I'm not one that believes they have to be in the team facility. It could be Arizona or Florida because of warmer weather or something like that. But you want to see is Watson getting enough time, reps this offseason with his wide receivers? That's what I want to see.
Yeah, that's what he needs. He needs to get the reps in. He just needs to get as many reps in this offseason as he can so that he can get back into that football playing shape. Yeah. So hopefully they do that. But that's right. That's definitely one thing you'll want to make sure you look at is, are they working out together? So hopefully they are. But let's move on. Jeff, we're going to talk about your first guy. Who's the first guy you want to talk about when it comes to value going up?
This one is just based off of what he was doing with the Bengals, and now with Javonte Williams still being hurt, this guy could be the RB1. I'm looking at Samaje Perine. A Broncos offense that didn't look that good last year. Now you've got a new head coach in Peyton, where you don't know what this offense is going to do. They could explode this year. And this guy, I won't say he is like Alvin Kamara, but has kind of the same skill set as far as being able to catch the ball out of the backfield. And he's hard to bring down. So I'm thinking that this guy could actually, if he's able to step in and get that RB1 role, he could take it and run with it. Because there were times last year where he was really producing, where I was like, man, could this dude be a RB1 if they get rid of Mixon? So, he looks like he was able to step in and take the load.
Yeah, he looked good last season when we saw him starting. The big thing for me is you don't really see too many running backs stepping into an RB1 role at the age of 27. So that is one thing where it's like, I think he's going to be, maybe for the first couple weeks, he'll get a lot of work. After that, though, I do kind of think he'll just fall in behind Javonte Williams. He's a great change of pace back. When you look at his past 3 seasons in Cincinnati, he's had over 4 yards per carry in each of those games. And as you said, he can get some work in the passing game. So I think he'll have some value for maybe the first 1 to 5 weeks. But after that, I wouldn't be surprised if they just kind of go the Javonte Williams way. And Samaje Perine turns out to be a guy who, maybe has 50 rushes the rest of the season. So I'm just a little nervous when it comes to his.
I don't know. I'm just like, he hasn't really produced yet. And that's what happens in Denver. We get a hot rookie running back, Royce Freeman. You can go ahead and keep going back down from there. They end up getting hurt, and then something happens to where they just fall off, and some veteran comes in. It just takes over.
Jeff, I almost put him on my list. So I'm glad you did, because I think that's someone on draft day you have to think about when you're going to take him.
Yep.
Because I think he's going to get a lot of touches. He's barely been used. Yeah, so he's older, but his body is wear and tear. And I like him in this coaching staff. I like him in this scheme.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, he really only got a full workload in Washington at the end of his first year. He was kind of getting that workload. But other than that, he's just kind of been a backup throughout the rest of his career. Been to Cincinnati, Miami, and Cincinnati, obviously, for the past few seasons. So I think it's an interesting one to look at. I'm just not going to put too much faith in that right now when Williams is supposed to be healthy. And also, he's six seasons already. He's only got 1,500 rushing yards. It's just
and that can all change with the draft too.
Right, the draft. This running back. This is a deep draft for running back.
Yeah.
And
I
mean, you could get a guy in the 5th round, and honestly, they could come in and start for a team.
Where did Peyton get Alvin Kamara? 3rd round. Yeah. So it's one of those things, man.
Yeah.
True. But then it takes away from Samaje Perine. So, I'm going to pump the brakes a little bit for Samaje right now. But I do like it more than when he was in Cincinnati. So we'll see. We'll see how this whole situation turns out. We're going to go back to his old team. And Will is going to talk about his guy who he thinks his value has gone up. Who do you want to talk about, Will?
Start with Joe Burrow, man. I mean, it's that offensive line was always the issue. And I think they might have figured it out. I think they're going to draft more offensive line. The defense is going to be good. And I think if Burrow has time, man, he got weapons. It's just, does he have time? And if they get that offensive line just functional, NFL mid-level, doesn't have to be the best offensive line, just has to be like top 15. That his fantasy stats, I think, are going to go up. So I actually think he might be the biggest winner of someone that was not a player, not signed or traded themselves. Someone was on a team where another non-skill position signing raised the level of all the skilled position signing. I mean, all the skill position players on the team. And I'm excited about Cincinnati this year.
Yeah.
Is there anyone in particular, any of his weapons you would like to specifically talk about here, Will? Just going to give you a minute, maybe. I thought you were going to bring up one person in particular when you brought up Joe Burrow. No Irv Smith love coming. No Irv Smith love coming from you.
Irv Smith could be a sleeper. If he gets Smith,
I was looking at that too.
Is his ability to stay healthy. He has all the talent in the world. He could be a great option for them, especially if they don't have to keep a tight end or running back in the block. If they can just go 5, man, it is that Bengal offense may shock people how many points they put up a game.
Yeah, I thought you were going to bring up
Brown Jr. That will help. That will help give him time. I was like, there couldn't have been if you like the Chiefs, there couldn't have been a worse place for that dude to end up.
You ain't lying.
I was like, no, anywhere but there. Come on, man.
And you know what? In Cincinnati,
now
I was going to say, Cincinnati's draft is going to be really interesting because they're kind of sitting at that part at the end of the first round. Someone may drop, and there might be some offensive talent there. If they get another like a wide receiver or even a running back drops, that could be a very dangerous team very quickly.
Yeah, they definitely could use another running back underneath Joe Mixon, but they brought in Orlando Brown, but now they're probably going to have to trade Jonah Williams, so it'll be interesting to see what they get for him on draft day because they brought in a left tackle, and their left tackle doesn't want to switch to right tackle. So it's kind of an interesting dynamic that they have going there. We'll see how much Orlando Brown improves the offensive line over Jonah Williams. I'm not sure it's going to be a huge amount, but I think it'll definitely be an improvement. And I think it is good. He did lose one weapon. We're going to talk about him next, incidentally. But when you look at it this way, he brought in Irv Smith, who has been productive when he's healthy.
Yeah.
He's just got to stay healthy. And he's got Jamar Chase. And the rumors coming out that they wanted to trade T. Higgins have now been disputed. So T. Higgins stays. Jamar Chase is there. I think that's a great duo, of probably top duo in the league, one of the best at least. So I think that he has the weapons, a new offensive line, and if the running game, Joe Mixon, they're going to bring someone else in, probably to the draft. So it's a good offense, and I think Joe Burrow will have a great fantasy season next year. But we're going to talk about the guy who Joe Burrow lost. That guy is Hayden Hurst, tight end for the Carolina Panthers. I'm super excited as a Panthers fan about this. He's come out and said he's super excited to be the security blanket for the rookie quarterback they're bringing in. The Panthers have historically, get away from the past couple seasons, but I've loved the tight end position when it comes to targeting that. I think we will see Frank Reich start to call things around the tight end position a little bit more with Hayden Hurst. He didn't really have that in Indianapolis with Mo Alley Cox. Just wasn't quite the talent that was there for them. But he did seem to get Jelani Woods involved down the stretch last season. So I think this is going to be a situation where Hayden Hurst is going to be the security blanket for C.J. Stroud or Bryce Young. And I think rookie quarterbacks like to rely on the tight end position. I think they're going to make him rely on the tight end position. So I think that he's a guy who could see probably, 70 to 80 targets at the tight end position, and that's valuable. He could end up anywhere from 5 to 6 touchdowns, and if he gets 600 to 800 yards, I think that's a great season for him. And I think those are numbers that are very possible in this new look Panthers offense. They brought in Adam Thielen and DJ Chark to help the new quarterback that they're going to draft. They brought in someone else who we're just going to talk about right after we're done talking about Hayden Hurst. But I think that this is a good landing spot for Hayden Hurst. He's a talented tight end. We've seen it since he's come in the league, really. He hasn't really been a disappointment. He's been good. He's had good yards for receptions, and he's been constantly getting those targets. So I think it's a good landing spot. If they can get this quarterback position right, Hayden Hurst can be a tight end one when we finish the season next year. What do you guys think about Hayden Hurst? Do you think he has that ability to be a low end tight end one?
If they get the quarterback call right,
Yeah.
I think so. That's the thing. It's hard to say, not knowing who is going to be throwing the ball. So, who is your quarterback right now? Let's just say you guys don't happen to take a quarterback in the draft. Who would your quarterback be?
Andy Dalton is currently.
And no, but I think he would. He might be able to help out a tight end. I just don't know if he'd be a high end tight end one, but it depends. Like
I don't think he'll be a high end tight end one, but he could be a mid to low end tight end one where he's a guy you start depending on the matchup, unless you have one of those top guys. That's normally what you're doing at the tight end position. And I think Hurst, he was that last year, and I think that's what he can be again this year. He just really didn't score last year for some reason. Not really sure what the Bengals were doing.
That's the thing. I'm just looking back at Frank Reich's offenses when he was with Indy. Tight end scored a lot, and a lot of times he ran a lot of 2 tight end sets. So I'm thinking if he does get a young quarterback, that might be his security blanket, and that's what I'm looking at.
Yeah,
he might have the potential, because I was looking at putting Hayden Hurst down here as well. But I was just like, it's hard to do that without knowing who his actual quarterback is going to be, not Andy Dalton.
Yeah, that's definitely fair, but I think it's good. Will, do you think Hayden Hurst has the ability to be a decent tight end this season?
Yeah, and a rookie quarterback adjusting to the NFL, I don't care who you are, it's an adjustment, and that short passing game becomes so essential, right? Especially if it's a mobile quarterback, because they can escape some pressure if they're too long in the pocket and they start moving left or right, and the tight end's going to be there. And so, in a weird way, he might be the leading receiver, at least the start of the season. And so, yeah, I think it's an intriguing spot depending on the quarterback they get.
Yeah, Yeah, if they draft Anthony Richardson, I'm not sure I'm going out and picking up Hayden Hurst in any of my drafts. But if it's Bryce Young or CJ Stroud, I'm fairly confident
Yeah.
that Hayden Hurst can be in between that probably tight end 7 to 9 range. I think he could finish.
Yeah, I'm
and
getting rid of
that's a
my next
decently.
guy. If they draft Anthony Richardson, I'm getting rid of my next guy as
Yeah.
well. Like,
Absolutely. Let's talk about him now, Jeff. Who do you want to talk about as a guy whose fantasy value is gone?
I'm just looking at Miles Sanders. He finally was going to get top billing, in the backfield. I actually think they were looking at who's a guy that is not CMC but has sort of the same skill set, and that's where you would see Miles Sanders. So still a young guy, hopefully he just stays healthy, but I think he's fallen in the perfect place in a balanced offense with a head coach that likes to run a balanced offense and likes to get the running backs the ball through, either handing it off or through dumping it off. So he's just in a perfect place, man. So, so I'm thinking if they get a young quarterback, again, another security blanket. So, especially if it's somebody like CJ Stroud or even Bryce Young, I don't think they're going to be trying to punch it in as much in the NFL as they would be trying to do in college. So I think they're going to defer to the running back. So he's just in a perfect spot.
That's the only thing that makes me nervous.
What is this, Zach's birthday that we're talking about all these Panthers players, man?
Dude, I don't know, but
what's going on today?
I love that signing by the Panthers, but it makes me nervous with a rookie quarterback in the red zone. If the red zone's so compact, first read ain't there, I'm not sure, at least the first part of the season, that quarterback's not trying to run it in themselves.
Yeah, I think it's really the rushing work that he's going to get in the red zone. It's going to make a difference. And I'm fairly confident he's going to be the RB1. They paid him big money. He's a guy who's averaged 5 yards per carry throughout his first 4 years of his career. He's a guy I've liked since he's come out of college. He's been extremely productive on the carries that the Eagles have been able to give him. Last year, his carries finally went up, and he had almost 1,300 yards, 11 touchdowns through the air. So when you give him the work, he's going to make do with it. The seasons before that, he had a little bit of injury, and then I don't really know what they've been doing with Miles Sanders the year before that. They just kind of didn't play him sometimes. And I'm not sure what they were doing there, but in Carolina, he's going to get the work. He's got the talent. He's efficient, and especially if they spell him with Chuba every once in a while just to keep that workload lighter, to keep him healthy. And I think, as you said, Frank Reich, Jonathan Taylor, 50 catches the 1 year. I don't think Sanders will have 50, but he could easily have 35 to 40 catches this season. And he had 50 his rookie year, so it's not like that's out of the question for a guy like Miles Sanders. He can do well through the air. So I think he's a guy who could end up being a high-end RB2, low-end RB1 when we look back on the season if everything goes right for this Panthers offense. The offensive line is good. We saw that last year with this much-improved offensive line. They were making holes for Donta Foreman and Chuba. Both looked great behind that offensive line at the end of last year. So we'll see how this whole offensive dynamic look once Frank Reich gets him out on the field. But I am happy we're talking about some Panthers when we're talking about guys whose values are going up. And I am happy that I think that these guys are great fits for the offense, and I'm super excited to see them play. But let's move on. Who's your next guy that you think's value has gone up?
As a Montgomery owner, I'm telling you, that was the scariest signing in free agency for me, by far. Because Detroit, man, Jared Goff has no excuses this year, none. I think the only way this gets scarier. Look, the only way this gets scarier is if Detroit is convinced that Goff is his last year, and they draft a quarterback. They move up and they do something, and they go get like Anthony Richardson or something. This team is stacked. Montgomery, I think, is going to score touchdowns. And if you have him, keep him. If you are in a redraft league, draft him high.
Yeah, Monty's a guy I've liked all throughout his time in Chicago. He should come in and get the red zone work that Jamal Williams saw. So that's also a positive when you look at it on that aspect of things. And I think he's a better running back than Jamal Williams is. Mm-hmm. So I think that's a situation where he's going to get more work. And they need to keep Swift healthy, which means Swift cannot be on the field all the time, if he's even on the team. When we look back on this after the draft, there's a chance Swift might be somewhere else. Wow. So I'm fairly confident with David Montgomery. I like the offense. I do think that the Jared Goff is probably done after this year. He's a decent quarterback, probably in that 15 range when it comes to NFL quarterbacks. So he's not great. He's not bad, but he's got 2 wide receiver ones on this team right now, in my opinion. He's got the talent there, 2 running back ones, in my opinion, as well, and David Montgomery and DeAndre Swift. So he has no excuses. This has to be the year for the Lions, or we could see some people out of jobs. So we'll see how it happens. I'm a little bit nervous. I saw what they were doing at the end of last year. And I think Dave Montgomery should be a fairly safe. He'll probably be like a mid-end RB2. A mid RB2, if I had to guess, in that, 16 to 20 range. You think it's going to be higher? You think he'll finish as an RB1?
I think he's an RB1 in this. Because, look, where are those rushing touchdowns going in Detroit? They're going to go to him. And he's a threat. To me, he's a threat in the passing game. I don't know if Swift is going to be lucky to see the field. This is where you get nervous about the Lions, though.
Exactly.
Are they going to mess this up and try to split carries?
Exactly.
And drive everybody crazy?
Exactly. I mean, even Jamal Williams, you guys got to remember, he was able to do a lot of that because Swift was either hurt, banged up, something else. So what are they going to do if they have 2 healthy backs? You have your starter who is supposed to be Swift, and that's my only issue. I think Swift will end up getting hurt, but in the case that he doesn't, now how do they split the carries? That's the only thing that scares me with Montgomery.
Well, I'm buying high right now.
All right. I wish I had him. I would have traded him too. But you already got him.
I already got him. And I didn't want to draft him last year in our draft. I did not want. I was like, oh my God, the Bears are going to destroy this kid. And now I'm happy. It's like, glad I didn't get rid of him.
Uh-oh. Zach, I think he's frozen. There he is.
There he is.
Okay.
I think it's an interesting.
Uh-oh. That ice storm might have got it.
Freeze is real. The freeze is real. Oh, no.
Oh.
Oh, he's trying. He's trying.
He's
thawing out a little bit.
Thawing out.
Saw the jaw moving just a bit.
Oh boy!
Oh no!
Oh no!
Oh no!
Oh, it's a blizzard.
The Canadian internet.
All right, Jeffrey. So let's hop on to your first player, or your player who you think is a loser out of the free agency.
Yeah, he's acting like he is a winner, which I do not know why. Juju Smith-Schuster.
You ain't lying about that.
You're going from Patrick Mahomes to Mac. We don't really want you, Jones.
Mahomes to Jones.
I'm like, I don't know. Even if they get Lamar Jackson, which now I would downgrade Lamar Jackson if he goes to the Patriots. The Patriots are just not the Patriots that we knew once upon a time. And even if they were, I still don't know. Juju is not the type of receiver that normally does good in New England. When you're looking back when it was a Julian Edelman, the slot guys that are fast, that's not Juju. So, unless he's going to come in like a Gronk role, that's still not Juju because he's not that, that strong like Gronk. So I'm just like, dude, you went from the top to the absolute worst place I think you could have gone.
Oh, you ain't lying.
Yeah,
with that coach, no way.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
exactly.
God, no way.
He's killed his TikTok stock. He's killed. I don't know what he was thinking. I have no idea. His whole career could be done after this.
Let's put a wager that Juju is traded before the trade deadline. If the Patriots are
I'm buying that.
I think he gets moved.
No, he'll still
he's
be on
not
the
paying.
Patriots.
Oh God, no, he's gone.
They can't move him after a couple of weeks. They won't be able to do that. He's their only weapon now. When I look at the wide receiver position for them, they let Jacoby Myers go and they brought in Juju on the same contract.
Is he a weapon
sure
though?
Right.
That's the thing.
I would have rather kept Jacoby.
Yeah, I would have too.
That's what I'm saying. I
don't know what they're doing with that, but
I think it's time for Belichick to maybe.
Yeah. The luster is kind of leaving.
Yeah.
The luster is leaving. The
is.
asterisks are starting to pile up.
Yeah. Was it him or was it Tom Brady?
Or was it the camera guy?
There you go.
My money's on the camera guy. I like
the
camera guy to be the.
Yep.
Let's stay in the division here. We're gonna stay at the position, and I'm just gonna take a position group as a whole. Give me all of the Jets wide receivers.
Right.
I think all of their values has gone down. Maybe they're getting Aaron Rodgers. Don't know at this point. They're supposed to be getting him, but when they get him, how much time is he going to have to work out with these wide receivers before the season? My other issue is so you have Garrett Wilson, you add Alan Lazard, add Mecole Hardman. They already have Corey Davis. They already have Denzel Mims. They're talking about bringing in Odell Beckham Jr. That's too many mouths to feed in this offense that already has Breece Hall at running back. So, Garrett Wilson, I like him. He's probably the only one you're going to be able to start every week. And the other ones are going to be hoping for a touchdown. And you're going to be disappointed most weeks when it comes to Alan Lazard, Mecole Hardman, Corey Davis, or Denzel Mims. They're not going to be startable at week in, week out. So I think everyone's value in this offense has dropped from where it was supposed to be when this team was getting Aaron Rodgers to where it is now after they brought in Lazard and Mecole Hardman, and they're talking about bringing in Odell Beckham Jr., which makes no sense to me. There's just going to be too many mouths to feed to have any fantasy value outside of whoever becomes the RB or the wide receiver one, which I think will be Wilson. But and at tight end they have Tyler Conklin and CJ Uzomah still, so it's not like they're slumping there either. They still have some pretty good tight ends. So it's just too many mouths to feed. They might not have time to get the reps in with Aaron Rodgers, which maybe means Alan Lazard is the wide receiver one for that team for the first half of the season. Who knows what's going to happen? I don't want any of them when it's going to come to paying their draft prices this year. I'm out on, and Garrett Wilson's probably going to be like a second, third round pick, and I don't want to pay up that for Garrett Wilson. So I'm out on all Jets wide receivers. What about you guys?
I'm there with you, definitely. And I don't know what's wrong with these ex-Chiefs receivers. I don't know why Mecole Hardman would leave the Chiefs. Maybe it was the money. But I'm just like, dude, you have another opportunity to actually win. You have an opportunity to actually be the wide receiver one.
Yeah.
I don't think Kadarius Toney is actually that guy yet. So
Sky Moore. It's Sky Moore in Kansas City. Kansas City wide receiver one. Yes. But so
I think
so
he's
my
still
thing
wide
is
receiver first.
We've seen Mecole Hardman we saw Mecole Hardman in Kansas City, right? And he had the opportunity to be the wide receiver one for the past 3 seasons, and he never was.
He was getting close this season until he got hurt. He was kind of filling in a little bit, stepping into a little bit more of that second option behind Kelsey. I think it was when he got hurt.
If Patrick Mahomes can't make you look.
Yeah.
I think he did.
If Patrick Mahomes doesn't make you look elite, I'm out on you because there's no way another quarterback's going to be able to replicate what Patrick Mahomes gives you. And Mecole Hardman had his chance already for me. I'm out on Mecole Hardman. Will, anything you want to add before we talk about your player?
I was actually going to do Lazard as my biggest loser. Can we just acknowledge that
Yeah.
this is what happens when a team with no owner gets in a conversation with a team with a dumb owner, and you end up in this situation where both teams are going to end up losing? Because even if the Packers say, "Well, we don't have to really exercise Aaron Rodgers stuff till week 1," so let's say if someone goes down in training camp and maybe we get 2 first-round picks for him, he's going to burn so many bridges with the rest of the league. No one's going to want to do business with the Packers, right? And the Jets, I still don't even know what the Jets are doing. Honestly, I have no idea what the Jets are doing.
They're
living
crazy.
on their defense.
They're trying to win
right
it all, I guess.
Yeah, it's just bad ownership.
Yeah.
But so I'm going to jump over to my guy, who I feel bad for, and I think is maybe a trade deadline player potentially if the season looks as bad as it is. It's Mike Evans in Tampa Bay.
Oh, poor Mike.
I mean, what the
Yeah.
hell for him? You're sitting there thinking, please get me out of here. Please, somebody rescue me. Honestly, if I was Buffalo, I might be like, if they're really soured on Diggs, I might be like, give me a second round pick in Evans for Diggs, and we'll be good.
Yeah. I don't know if Diggs will want to go to Tampa Bay though. I mean, no one.
I love Diggs, but at some point, dude, like, I get you want to win, but you can't keep doing this. Like, you just can't keep doing this to teams. And so all I'd say is back to Evans. Oh my God,
I know where he can come.
For
DK on one side,
no.
Mike Evans on the other side. You know we're looking for another receiver. Oh my goodness! Oh, I love that.
Tyler Lockett's better than Mike Evans.
Tyler Lockett would just be the slot. That's all. We're done.
Evans, if they're going to be as bad as we think they are, because right now I would say Tampa Bay is not going to have a good season.
They're not.
Evans might be on the move week 1 or week 2.
Yeah, I could see Evans on the move, and possibly even before the season if something happens in the draft. But to me, you look at Mike Evans, and there's really one big problem, and his name is Baker Mayfield. I've talked about him a lot last year. Talked about him, throughout all of last offseason, all of last season. Baker Mayfield is not good. He can't support a wide receiver one.
No.
And I don't know why anyone else would think any other reason. It's tough for Mike Evans because he has been so consistent. But if Baker Mayfield starts all the games for them this year and Mike Evans does as well, this will be Mike Evans' first season to not hit 1,000 receiving yards. Yeah. And I'm fully confident Baker will not get him to that mark. I have no confidence in Baker Mayfield when it comes to 1,000 yards for Mike Evans is the thing. And if he can't do that in Tampa Bay this year, he's got to push himself out of Tampa. Even if he goes to Buffalo and pairs with Stephon Diggs, they don't have to send Stephon back. Just get him somewhere with a quarterback, please, for his value. But so far he's been a loser. They brought him.
Maybe I'll go to New England to help Mac Jones.
Him and Juju. Wow. I don't know.
That'd be an interesting duo. Mike Evans and Juju Smith-Schuster with Mac Jones throwing them the ball. I still don't know if he hits 1,000 yards in New England.
Yeah. So the one guy we didn't talk about that I almost put on my list was Waller, but I just don't know how. You guys have any thoughts?
Waller was on Zach's list.
Okay.
I don't. Yeah, I don't know.
I think he is. There's too many mouths to feed now in New York too. Like he's probably the best when it comes to wide receivers, because they're really lacking at the wide receiver position. But they're obviously going to address that in the draft. And they, Darren Waller probably goes down at quarterback in comparison. Derek Carr really loved Darren Waller, and is Daniel Jones that guy? I'm not sure. It's Saquon Barkley's offense. So Zach had Darren Waller as his biggest offseason loser. And honestly,
Loser?
I tend to agree. I don't think it was great. Yeah. I think he's a loser when it comes to his value between Oakland or Las Vegas to now. So did Zach. I thought you were talking about him as a loser too, because I don't think Daniel Jones is
I
going
didn't
to be able
know.
to support a tight end one.
Wow. I'm just reading, Will. This would have blew your mind. You know that the Vikings were in the mix for David Montgomery?
Yeah.
Wow.
And then Cook would have been gone.
Yeah.
Oh, I think Cook. There's no way Cook. There's no way they're carrying these running backs in and Ham at fullback in. I think what the Vikings might be doing is waiting to trading. I don't think they move Cook till after June 1. And I don't think they move a couple. I think the Vikings are going to move a couple of players going into July.
Yeah, it could happen. But yeah, we got a couple more players to just talk about Zach's players here. His winners, one of them was Jamal Williams, who's now Saints RB1 to start the season probably. I think with Kamara possible suspension looming, Jamal Williams, could have some value. I like that pick. I don't know if you guys want to say anything else on that topic.
I think Jamal could have went to other teams. It would have been a better fit for him. I don't think the style that the Saints play is a good fit for him. I know he was frustrated. The Lions obviously didn't want him back. And I don't know why. If I was the Lions, I would have wanted him back. But
from what I heard, they made him an offer, but it was nowhere near what he got paid to the Saints or what they offered Monty. So. So and then Zach also had Mike Gesicki. That's his other guy.
That's right. That's right. I just can never trust him.
New team there.
He's one of them dudes you gotta wait and see what happens, man. All the talent in the world, but I'm like, I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see. That's not sure.
Yeah, I mean his value probably went up, but how far did it go up? That's really the. Hey, it's up a little bit from being nothing in Miami for sure, but he'll be close to nothing in New England. So.
That's the thing. It's New England again.
Yeah, right.
You just don't know. I mean, hell, it's not like Mac Jones didn't have good tight ends.
Zach was going to have to ask him, does he have PTSD from all those years of New England? You kind of feel like when you're in the same division, like, oh crap, they're going to turn this guy into what we didn't. And I don't know. I think that unfortunately for the Patriots, it's kind of like where we're talking about Tampa Bay. Like, it's not a place you want to be this year.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just looking at New England had Hunter Henry and what's the other guy?
Jonnu Smith.
They had two top, wide receivers, and he had rapport with Hunter Henry towards the,
But Hunter Henry's still there. Hunter Henry's still there.
Yeah, so I don't know.
And Gesicki's not.
No, he's not.
Nope.
It's the Patriots, brother. I can't. They're heading for a coaching change this year. We all see it. Everybody sees this coming. Unless they win the Super Bowl, they're going to. Kraft is going to finally clean that whole thing out.
He just needs to get to the playoffs, but I don't even see a path there in the division that he's in.
No, or a wild card.
Yeah.
No, it's just they're not. I mean, they're still a good team. I mean, they're a good team. They just don't have
three teams that are clearly better than them right now. Even not knowing if the Jets have a quarterback, they're still better than the Patriots. So you got the Jets, the Dolphins, and the Bills. You got three top teams right now. I don't see them getting out of that division. I really don't.
No,
I don't see them. I don't see them being over 8 wins.
Yeah, I don't know.
They could, but it'll be tough for the Patriots. As we said, the division's hard, and we have to expect Aaron Rodgers to be the Jets' starting quarterback
Yeah.
Right.
coming beginning of the season. So I think they will finish last in their division, and they're in an offense that we've seen gets every single person involved, and no one involved enough to make themselves relevant. They added James Robinson in the backfield too. So now Ramondre Stevenson, what can you make of Ramondre?
Right. Right.
To
And
me,
I hate that
Robinson's
James
better than
Robinson
Damian
went there.
Harris.
I
Yeah.
really hate that
It
James
sucks.
Robinson went there. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
too
I don't
many
even know if he's still on the team, but I
mediocre
think I would
players.
take the Jets if Joe Flacco was their quarterback
Yeah.
over the Patriots right now.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
And that says a lot. That says a lot.
The way they lost the game to the Raiders last season, that told you everything you need to know about the Patriots right now. They would never lose that way
No.
before. They look like
That was a
team
bad team.
yeah,
That was
man.
just-
So I don't know.
Football Follies, if you're old enough to remember that. Football Follies was
Yeah. Who knows? Belichick has a lot to prove,
Yeah.
I mean, he's a guy that could pull something out of his butt. You never know. But I doubt it. Doubt it heavily.
I doubt it too. We'll end the show there. Thank you guys both for joining, and thank everyone for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. We will be back next week or the week after that with some draft content, and then after that we'll be diving into rookie landing spots. We'll do some mock drafts. We have our own draft May 7th. So we'll try and do something for that, whether we go live or record it and post
we
it
gotta
for you
go
guys.
live.
Well, we will definitely.
We gotta record it.
We got a few guys here. I mean, I know I'll be making lots of picks. Currently have the 102, the 103, the 109, the 201, the 202,
Hey,
the
if
203.
you want to move up, if you want to move from 109 to 105, call me.
I want to move from 109 to 101. I have an offer out there. I'm not sure it's gonna happen, but I would love to have the 101. And I'm also got an offer out there to try and get the 112. So we'll see. I'm trying to get another pick somewhere in there without.
Well, if you don't get those and you want to move up 4 spots, call me.
You're the Miami Dolphins,
maybe.
man, trying to get all these number 1 picks.
Well, I see. I have lots of room on this bench here that we have in that league. So I figure, stock up on guys in a draft that I like, a class that I like, should be good. I know at the 102 and the 101, or the 102 and the 103, I'm going to get a quarterback, whoever the Panthers select. And then I'll get the RB2 out of the draft class. So it should be pretty good there. I'll end up with an RB1 and a quarterback 1. I'd love to also get Bijan Robinson if I could, but I don't think I'm going to be able to swing that trade to get the 101. But should be all right as long as I get whoever the Panthers draft. I don't really care how the rest of the draft.
If you are betting people, I think a trade is about to go down. I think Lamar Jackson is about to go to the Colts, and the Ravens are going to end up trying to draft Anthony Richardson. And they won't even start him this year. They'll just let Ty Huntley go ahead and start this year.
Let me tell you real quick on that. Lamar, the reason why that trade hasn't been done yet, and it won't get done, is the Colts ownership is not the team that's willing to risk what Lamar wants and give up the money.
Yeah.
I still think the dark horse, and I'm a homer, is post-June. I still think the dark horse trade is Lamar to the Vikings. The Viking ownership will write. I guarantee you, the Viking ownership will give him the guarantee. They'll give him 4 years guaranteed, fully guaranteed. They've done it for Kirk Cousins. So if you're going to do it for Kirk Cousins, you're telling me you won't do it for Lamar Jackson? I think the Vikings are just trying to get past June 1.
Kirk, they do like every couple of years. So just give him another year guaranteed. They didn't give him like a 4-year.
No, but if Kurt had been younger at 26, people forget how young Lamar is.
Exactly.
Like you can give Lamar guaranteed 4 years, and it's going to still. Anyone who thinks Lamar Jackson is not worth 4 years fully guaranteed is crazy. Lamar Jackson is worth 4 years fully guaranteed. After that, I could see not
give up.
I think the problem for Baltimore too is They're going to be lucky to get it. If you're Baltimore, you're not getting a first-round pick in this draft.
I think
who's
they
going
will.
to give you?
For Lamar?
No one's going to give it up for this draft.
The Colts will.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking they will.
Dude,
I think Irsay might be like, dude, this is the guy that we need just because his new head coach is like, let me get that guy.
Dude, Irsay's not the owner. Not saying it won't happen. That team is not that. That's not that's not the Colts DNA. It's not.
Yeah. I still think they might do it though.
You need a risk taker owner.
This.
He might be willing to risk it now.
Fail. I think he's willing to risk it here to get. If he can get Lamar for the 104 and probably a little bit more, I think he'll do it. Because what you're going to take your shot on Will Levis at the 104 or Anthony Richardson at the 104 over Lamar? They have to go quarterback.
Depends on the management style, and if you believe that a rookie quarterback salary is how teams win. And that's what the Colts seem like to me. They're not a veteran. They tried the veteran shit stuff and it didn't work.
But they tried the
tried the old
instead of getting
veteran.
a young veteran, they got guys that were like broken and beat down. Dug them out of the grave.
And let's not forget, the Ravens are not trading a player to the Colts. Baltimore. There's a reason why the Packers, who probably
if they can get a one that fits basically the same mold of the quarterback that they're giving up, which they'll still have too. They don't even have to start him this year. They can let Ty Huntley go ahead and play this year.
I really believe that Colt. It's just not their DNA to take a risk like that.
Yeah, it's an interesting situation. We'll keep following it as the offseason goes along. But, Lamar will be playing for someone, and we'll keep you updated on that. But as I said, we'll end the show there. We'll be back. Lots of draft content. As I said, we have our draft coming up that we'll definitely be live for too. So thank you for watching, and come back again next week.
Got you guys.